Sunday, January 14th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Are we being distracted by divide and rule or divide et impera? Well, I think so. And what is a divide and rule? Basically, it's a strategy to keep the public divided, to keep factions at each other, and to distract the public against the failings of the establishment or the elite, so to speak, or the governing class. And according to Wikipedia, it says here, tradition attributes the origin of the motto to Philip of Macedonia. In my opinion, the reason why they're doing it is because we're witnessing the demise of the dollar as a major reserve currency. And it's not the demise of the dollar, period. It doesn't mean that the dollar is not going to exist, that you won't be able to use the dollar in the States or elsewhere, but it's not going to be as important. And why do I say that? You could be saying, oh, well, Trump is draining the swamp. He's he's going against the deep state or the shadow government, and that's what we hear, but I have my doubts. Look at this photo here, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton at the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation dinner. And this was a few weeks before the November 2016 presidential election. And do these guys look like they're arch enemies sitting there between that cardinal? I don't think so. It looks to me that they're part of a script at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. And I did watch that, the speeches that were made at that dinner back in October 2016. And you could see all the people that were present there, all like Henry Kissinger, Maria Bartiromo, mainstream media, all top, the richest, most powerful people all together there. So those are the puppet masters, in my opinion. Let's look at some of the distractions first that I think are just distractions, and then we'll look at the dollar and the interest rates, which is really important, in my opinion. So first distraction, there's always division. Trump administration resumes accepting DACA renewal applications under court order. That's a big distraction there. Even in the UK, it's spilled over to the UK. Trump supporters demand arrest of London Mayor Sadiq Khan. And the story says it comes after Sadiq Khan said Donald Trump had realized he's not welcome in London after canceling a planned visit. So, and it says here, the demonstrator shouted pro-Trump and pro-Brexit slogans. So that's another, the Brexit is the divide and rule for the UK, distracting people away from the real problems, which is the fact that the pound is also being debased from around $2.10 in 2008 to a present level of $1.36. And I do know that the pound has rebounded since it made lows after Brexit, but still a distraction. Other big distraction, well, they've put two into one here. It's a double whammy. North Korea says Fire and Fury book signals Donald Trump's political demise. This is a story from The Independent. Came out 2 days ago. So there's another one, North Korea and this book that's come out about Trump. The other one that was a bit scary, and it came, Hawaii missile strike alert, fear, panic, and relief at PGA Tour event while they're playing a golf tournament in Hawaii. So, yeah, the golfers were scared. I think it took almost 40 minutes for the state of Hawaii or whoever sent the signal out on mobile phones to detract that. So people actually thought that their Hawaii was under a missile attack for more than half an hour. That's quite a That's divide and conquer, keep people, in fear of North Korea, I assume. While the other one that I see is about cryptocurrencies. They keep telling people that cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin are just used by criminals and money launderers and other, shady individuals. Yeah, when you meet someone and they don't know much about it, they say, oh, but it's been used for money laundering. And there's a story here from 2 days ago. This is real. Bitcoin investors struggle to cash out new fortunes. It's in the FT. And it says UK mortgage lenders refuse to accept deposits because of money laundering fears. But they never talk about the fact that the banks and the central banks have been acting fraudulently, creating value of thin air, printing trillions of dollars to help out, the bankers. But when someone does well through cryptocurrency, which in my opinion has more value and more credibility than the fiat money, have a look at what I think is the real big distraction. And we have to look back at 2014, around that time. That's when the Fed announced that they're going to start tapering or decreasing the amount of QE they were doing. And then at the end of 2015, they started raising rates, the Fed funds rate in December. And they've been raising rates ever since. Now they've announced that they're going to start tightening QT, basically letting the bonds that mature on their balance sheets go off. They're not going to buy them back and keep their balance sheet at around 4.5 trillion. So they're expected to, in financial year 2019, to let 600 billion treasuries go off their books. And then you have a massive amount of deficit that's coming due in that financial year. Even Goldman Sachs said that recently in an article that the Treasury is going to have to issue over $1 trillion in debt from 480 billion or so in financial year 2019, which starts since October this year. So, in spite of the fact that we are always told that higher interest rates are good for a currency, in this case, just look at what's been happening to the US dollar since December 2015. Granted, it stayed pretty much sideways or up until the end of 2016. But now that the Fed's raised rates a few more times, it's talking about unwinding its balance sheet. Look what the dollar's done. And look what it's done now as well. We've just this week or on Friday this week, we broke through the low from September 2017. That low is at 91, the dollar index, and we closed at 90.90. So we closed below that level. So there's not much support here on the downside. I'll show you some more longer term charts. This is an interesting one. Dollar index going back to the early 1970s. And by the way, it started, I think, in 1973 or so, and it started at 100, the dollar index. So all in all, this goes to show that all the components of the dollar index, it's all a game, a fiat currency game. So the dollar doesn't look good, but I would say the other currencies don't look good either against real money like gold and silver. So that's why Americans, if they want to protect themselves, don't buy other fiat currencies. Don't buy the euro or the pound or the Japanese yen. Stick to physical gold. So here we have a massive top in the dollar index and all the distractions around. And that's in spite of, interest rates going up. But the thing that they don't tell us as well is that it looks like the the bond market bubble or bull market we've had since 1981 looks to be coming to an end. Your yield is starting to creep up. This week we touched to just below 260 a couple of times. We closed at 255 on Friday. The key level here in the short term is 263 and then 3%. And the 3% is really key because if we break above that level, it means that the trend of lower highs and lower low yields since 1981 will be broken. And as you can see also, these trend lines here are not looking, they look like they've been breached. This is from 1988 and it's a weekly bond yield chart. All this is going on. We've also got the Chinese and the Russians starting to deal in gold or even in yuan. We've got the petro yuan that's supposed to start trading next week on the 18th of January on the International Energy Exchange, or INE, in Shanghai. That could be a big turning point for the US dollar or the petrodollar. The fact that the biggest importer of oil will be able to pay in its own currency, and then the people, the countries selling them the oil will be able to either keep the yuan or exchange the yuan for physical gold. And we had the comments or the article from Bloomberg saying that Chinese government sources say they're going to slow down or stop buying U.S. treasuries. They don't even have to sell their U.S. treasuries to make treasury prices go down or yields go up. They can just, if they stop, it's going to be already, you know, really tough. And especially when the U.S. is going to have to borrow more, or Uncle Sam is going to have to borrow more, as Goldman Sachs said. The Chinese government came out, or officials came out afterwards and denied that story, but I don't know. There's no smoke without fire. Don't let them divide and conquer you. This left-right paradigm is the worst thing that we can have. Even George Washington advised people, you know, the public, against having political factions or political parties. It might sound weird. We shouldn't have political parties. Some people say, oh, but you're going to kill democracy without political parties. No, you can still have freedom and the rule of law without political parties, as long as you're able to have your inalienable natural rights to life, property, and liberty. Does it matter what politicians say? No. So don't let them divide and conquer you. Keep an eye on the dollar. Keep an eye on interest rates. And it's not surprising that gold and silver are acting quite well at the moment. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, subscribe to my channel, YouTube channel, or you can also follow me on steemit.com and on Twitter. And I'll talk to you later.